Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to our channel. I'm Daniel. This is Jonathan. Today we are back with Death Note, episode 2.
Yes.
It was a good start.
It was.
Very intriguing. We kind of got locked in pretty soon. I think what helped is that we had no idea what the show was about.
At all.
Like, zero. But the concept is kind of crazy. We got like in all these like crazy wild theories, like what you can do with it and like how it works, the rules, you know, with like so many seconds if you don't write it and so many minutes. So hopefully they kind of reestablish that. If not, we'll need to like write it down to make sure we have it locked down. I'm sure we will.
Right. The other kind of neat thing about episode 1 was it almost felt like it was kind of like a full culmination of the concept of it is like, you find the Death Notebook and then you can write people's names on it. And he wrote a bunch of criminals' names, you know, people in jail and all that. And it feels almost like that's kind of like a wrap. It puts a bow on the episode it's like, in the show, but I know there's more. Like
here's one episode, here's the concept.
Right.
Which I like that because if they're able to give that much information off the bat, that means there's way more complexities and things that we're not thinking about.
True.
That's coming with it. If it's like a slow burn, they're trying to draw it out.
Right. Then
I guess once we get to like the concept, like if it's like 8 episodes to get to the point where you wrote a ton of names and got good at it, then it's like, okay, there's not much more you can do with it. So I'm excited to see where they go with this.
Same.
We've already gotten some comments over that I've read, a couple little notes, like whenever he was writing the guy's name that they're trying to get that girl outside and he got hit by the truck.
Right.
He only overheard the name, so he didn't know because he had all these names. So he just kept trying to write how he thought it was written.
Right.
Multiple times. Okay. Because we were like shocked at how many names he already done. But then afterwards, he still had a ton of names already written down.
Which, that kind of goes back to you have to visualize the person's face so that way somebody with the same name doesn't
accidentally
die or whatever.
Right.
So if he was having to figure out the spelling, he knew at least the face of the name he overheard and so how to get the correct spelling. That's crazy.
You can find out pretty quickly if it works. So he probably would write it once, kind of wait, write it again, wait, maybe.
Yeah.
Until he figured it out. Yeah, we're gonna see what happens. The demon god, what's his Ryuk? I forget what they call him. The
god of god of darkness, the god of death.
Something like that. He seems intrigued because he's bored, right?
Right.
And he said humans are interesting. So he's just like along for the ride, I guess.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how their relationship goes. But yeah, I'm ready to hop into this one, see where it takes us. Before we do, guys, please consider subscribing to our channel if you enjoy this type of content. Also, the full length reactions to this show and all others are over on our Patreon and early access to these episodes as well. All linked down below if you want to check those out. Otherwise, we're going to hop into episode 2.
Let's do it.
Well then, we'll leave it at that for today.
That'd be distracting. Yeah.
Imagine you're talking to him, everybody thinks you're going crazy.
I know.
I thought it would never end. How do you do this every day? It's so boring here. Hey, where are you going? Hey, Light, are you listening to me?
Don't talk to me. Unlike you, people can still hear me when I talk.
Right, you see?
Yeah.
Aren't you just gonna go home and hang out in your room as usual?
What are you talking about? Of course I have something to do. Yes, something very important.
How long has it been? I wonder.
There was more violence across the city today. Another stabbing, this time at a restaurant in the heart of the Kabukicho district of Shinjuku.
Why are you working so hard?
I have a very small window to write names in this notebook. I study to sleep so I can maintain my average and stay at the top of my class.
It's a lot of hours writing names.
If I'm serious about trying to create an ideal world that's free from evil, then I need to make the most of my time.
Hey, Light, what's going on? Why is your door locked?
Who's this?
Saw you.
Sister?
Can you help me with my homework?
Yeah, okay.
Man, he doesn't want anybody
We're doing quadratic equations in math.
Oh, nice.
Sorry to interrupt. I know you're studying right now.
If anyone else touches that notebook you've got hidden in the drawer right now,
immediately
they'll be able to see me too.
There have been 52 deaths that we're aware of, and that's just in the past week.
Oh, is people keeping track?
A heart attack.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's too much of a pattern.
They started the meeting without you.
These were criminals who were probably facing execution sooner or later. Perhaps we shouldn't.
Why should it matter whether it's a criminal or someone innocent? Last time I checked, murder was still murder.
It's still too early to consider. You think it's possible to simultaneously
All over the
kill
world.
all these people in different locations?
We're treating this as an elaborate murder plot that's been carried out by a large organization.
It looks as if we'll have no choice but to bring in L.
Oh, who is L?
It got quiet.
What's this L they're talking about?
Right.
Consultant, maybe?
He's managed to solve every case he's ever taken on. A last resort.
our trump card.
Last.
But I've heard this L is extremely arrogant. I understand he'll only take on cases that he's personally interested in.
Maybe he's also like
L is already on the move.
Like not a regular person. He maybe has an ability the same way Light does, in a different way maybe.
L has already begun his investigation into these incidents.
Looks like Carmen Sandiego. Maybe L is like a demon.
L would now like to address the delegates.
I am L.
I don't understand why we're sneaking around this dump. You told me that anyone who touches the Death Note will be able to see you. I can't afford to carry something this dangerous with me anymore. I don't want to think about it, but if I make one mistake, I might end up killing my own family.
What's his plan with this? Burning it? You can't burn it. I thought he said it couldn't be destroyed or something like that.
We're witnessing an atrocious act of mass murder, one that is unforgivable. You need to make the decision to fully support the investigation at this meeting. Whether the guilty party is an individual or a group, there's a strong possibility that they're Japanese.
Oh, wow.
If not, we can be sure they're hiding in Japan. I would like to set up the investigation headquarters in Japan.
Interesting that he knows that.
I know. Maybe he's good. That's what I'm saying. I think he's not just a regular guy.
Than I thought it'd be.
Does that mean you were able to hide the notebook?
Yeah. I hid it right here in this drawer.
You left the key in the lock.
That's the whole point. I intentionally left the key in the most noticeable place I could think of.
Isn't that just a regular diary?
I'm guessing that once most people find the diary inside my desk, that'll probably satisfy their curiosity.
Mm.
The real key, a regular ballpoint pen.
What?
And all I need is this part. Then you just insert this.
Ah, a fake bottom.
That's just like on
The diary
Aaron
would
found.
distract most
Oh,
people.
Christian's
Anyway.
Even if someone figures out that there's a fake base, I've set things up so that there's no way they could get their hands on the notebook. Once the ink reservoir is
Golly.
inserted, it acts as an insulator, preventing the flow of electricity around this circuit. When the fake base of the drawer is put back, this piece of rubber also prevents the flow of electricity. If someone were to try and force the bottom of the drawer open, the circuit would connect, and that would ignite the gasoline contained in this thin plastic case.
Oh, that's why he doused it in
instantly
gasoline.
setting the notebook on fire.
Oh, okay.
The way I've got it set up, all the evidence would be completely destroyed.
Though it's a pretty risky setup from the look of it.
Right.
If you make even the slightest mistake,
Right.
you could be badly burned.
This doesn't even qualify as a risk to me. In fact, it actually protects me. It all comes down to a choice. Would I prefer to be executed or deal with a little house fire?
If the cause of death was written, this is what we're talking about.
Oh.
If the cause of death is written within 40 seconds of writing the person's name, it will happen. If the cause of death is not specified, the person will simply die of a heart attack. Oh, but what's the 6-minute thing though?
Was it 6 minutes or I think it was, we determined it was 6 minutes, but they say seconds. So I think it's if they read it within 40 seconds, then they have 100, what was it? 340 seconds or 360 seconds, I think, to write it down.
Well, 400 seconds, I think. So that'd be 6 minutes and 40 seconds.
Yes.
So maybe that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
But then we had determined like if he starts the writing at least, then he has 6 minutes to finish writing it out.
Correct.
As long as he starts writing within 40 seconds.
Correct.
But the way this is written, it's like, as long as it's written within, I guess if you start within 40 seconds. That's how I'm seeing it. Maybe we're wrong, but all right, here we go.
Outcome is still the same. Get in the light. There it is.
There it is. After writing the cause of death, details of the death. Oh, should we write in the next? Okay. So you write the name and you say hit by truck, like high level.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's like, okay, it knows now you have 6 minutes, 40 seconds to give if you want to give more details as to how that happened. But you have to give a cause of death, anyone first.
Yeah, because could you imagine writing for 6 minutes these exact details? You can make people suffer.
You can. That's what's crazy. You can go into like all sorts of detail.
Yeah, like leg cut off.
Yeah, and like
but
for
still
some,
conscious.
and there's no timeline. Like, because for some people, he already said they're gonna die of old age or of sickness. Like he could put, will die in 27 years of this and this. But then it begs a question like, what if, does everybody's death have to be by a name? Because then what if he says they die in 27 years, but they would have died normally like in 10 years of natural causes?
Can it also play the reverse role where you can say, for example, for him, my mom will die in 100 years just for her to live longer?
Yeah, right, exactly. Can you override and someone else writing their name?
Dang, crazy.
Or give yourself immortality in a way.
Yeah, I think with the burden though that they talked about, like having to live through what you're going through with this death
eventually
notebook,
he said it's going to be harder and harder.
Takes a toll. Yeah, it's a price you
interesting.
pay. But
all right, here we go. Maybe more and more deaths are happening in Japan versus other countries.
Dropping like flies lately.
T9.
Dang, that's old school. Well, this is 2006 or something.
Buke, you should check this out.
Huh? The Legend of Kira the Savior. Huh. Sounds pretty cool.
I think they've taken the name Kira from the English word killer. Can't say I'm too happy about that. It looks like that's the name they've decided to give me. The people of the world can already sense that there's something happening.
That's what he wants.
They know there's someone out there passing righteous judgment.
Righteous judgment.
That's what we're saying.
Humans will always try to maintain appearances when they're in public. That's just how we are. But this is how they really feel. Most are too afraid to support me as they're worried about what others will think.
Got a lot of supporters.
Kira is growing. Maybe people are afraid to say it out loud, but they all understand what's happening. Those who have done no wrong are cheering for Kira in their hearts because they have nothing to fear, while those who have done wrong are on the run. They're forced to hide from an unknown enemy.
Oh, interesting.
This is how it should be.
I am Lind L. Taylor.
L?
Otherwise known as...
Oh, he's showing himself.
Nice.
He's never actually shown his face before, right? Why would he choose to do it now?
It must mean L's serious about this. Did the ICPO...
I think he knows. He's showing his face for a reason.
Criminals around the world are being murdered by a serial killer. Kira, I will hunt you down.
Oh, he called him.
He seems certain he'll get you.
Called him by name.
Could write his name down and be done with.
You'll never find me. I anticipated that the police would get involved and that
he gave his full name too.
What you're doing right now is evil.
I am justice. I protect the innocent and those who fear evil. I'm the one who will become the god of a new world that everyone desires.
But see, I think he's baiting him here. That's not his name.
Too bad.
I don't think that's his real name though.
Right. And he made it big too.
I'll show the world what happens when you cross me.
Yeah.
5 more seconds. 4.
It's no way that's his real name, right?
2.
I don't think that is.
1.
He's faking it. Not falling for it.
What's wrong? You got nothing else to say?
Maybe he was just the guy reading. It was a test, I bet.
I had to test this just in case, but I never thought it would actually happen.
Dang.
Kira, it seems you can kill people without having to be there in person.
Oh.
I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't just witnessed it. If you did indeed kill Lind L. Taylor, the man who you just saw die on television, I should tell you that he was an inmate whose execution was scheduled for today.
Oh.
Not me. The police arrested him in absolute secrecy, so you wouldn't have heard about him on TV or through the internet. It appears that not even you have access to information about these types of things.
Oh, he was careless.
Told you, baited him.
But I assure you, L is real. I do exist. Try to kill me.
What's going on?
He's got to know his face, so L knows about this.
Dang. Kira versus L. Now he knows what they need.
It seems that you can't kill me after all.
So there are some people you can't kill.
I'll tell you something that I think you'll find interesting. Although this was announced as a worldwide broadcast, the truth is, we are only broadcasting
in Japan.
The Kanto region of Japan.
Smart.
Baited him nasty.
He's
the first of your victims was a suspect in Shinjuku.
Whoa.
Of all the criminals that have recently died of heart attacks, this one's crime was by far the least serious. His crime was only ever reported inside Japan.
Oh, that's how he knew.
You are in Japan, and your first victim was little more than an experiment, which means that you haven't been killing for very long.
Oh, man. This guy's
We
good.
decided to broadcast in Kanto first because of its large population, and luckily we found you. It won't be too long now before I am able to sentence you to death.
Al has certainly lived up to his reputation.
He gave away a lot fast.
Kira
Yeah.
exists, that the deaths were murders, and that he is here in Japan.
Let's meet again soon, Kira.
Dang.
Dude, that was sick. I love that. Maybe I'm Team L now. I don't know.
I'm not.
Oh, nice.
Sounds interesting.
He's like, game on.
I accept your challenge, L.
Ooh. Meanwhile, Ryuk's like,
Each of them has to hunt down the other without knowing the other's name or face.
Yeah.
Humans are so much fun.
that's
I am justice.
Oh.
interesting. Dang, that's good.
That was a good one.
I like that twist.
I wasn't falling for it. It was just too out there. When he said,
it was too public when he gave his name.
Yeah, mainly because of what we knew, right? This guy's good at what he does. He's never lost an investigation or whatever. Never lost. And and nobody knows his name. Nobody knows his face. I mean, or what L stands for or anything. And then to come out on the news and just say, I'm Lind L. Taylor.
Yeah.
And it was just like, no.
And he purposely used someone that he knew who was sentenced to die that same day anyway, a criminal, and nobody knew that he took him out. So he did a lot of tests in one, broadcasting to a specific area. He knows that this guy who came out, no one knows about him. So you can't get your information from anywhere else, not like public or not like private records or concealed records.
Which is interesting because L did. Before he set this plan up, he did a lot of research. Who his first victim was, where those crimes were reported, only in Japan or whatever, and then in what city, and then the fact that was like the least, what did he call it, or the least impactful, whatever he said. It wasn't as bad. Proves that was his first one. So he did research before putting this plan together, and then he executes this plan. Yeah, and he talks about even you don't have access to these records, whatnot. But still, I think where Light's, it's crazy. Light L,
right? Yeah.
Where Light has an advantage, I don't think we've heard or seen or know. He's in school learning English. What grade level? How old he is? He seems young. Yeah. So I'm gonna just go out on a limb here, say he's still in high school, right? Living with his parents. So it's possible that he has the upper hand here by, the police, the ISPO probably thinks it's an adult.
Yeah, they wouldn't think to look for a kid.
Exactly. And that's where I think he might have an upper hand.
Now, the thing is, he's very smart, Light is, but in that moment, he's had this book for a little while and has gotten the sense of power has been growing with this book. Like he's gotten he feels like he's untouchable, and then so the first person calls him out, so he's like, I'll show you. Wrote his name huge, messy, whatever. He just caught him in a moment. But I think now that was like the one time you're gonna catch him off guard. He's gonna be a little bit more calculated now. But it's interesting. I like how they said at the very end, they both feel like they're doing the right thing,
right? And
so because that's kind of like that's like those dilemmas that you can ask, that you talk about in psychology class, like the morality dilemma with it. Like you're killing these horrible criminals, but you're still killing. Killing is killing.
Right. Murder is murder.
But what happens if you had a chance, from his perspective, Lights, if you had a chance to end this guy's life and you save him, set him free, and he goes on and kills 30 other people.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like by killing one and saving 30, does that justify the killing of the one?
Right. And
so he says yes, whereas L's killing is killing. So they both are really believe their stances on the whole morality of it.
Right. And you look at the morality of it, L still wants to kill Light and Light wants to kill L. Right?
Yeah.
So it's like they both want to do justice by their own
one of them is
definition.
Light wants to kill L. L wants to sentence Light to death. So he's still trying to do it via the proper means, I guess. Yeah. Dang, that was smart. That was a smart way to do it. And I was even thinking, how can you narrow it down? Because people die of heart attacks all the time. But you just go from the point where they started to die at a rapid rate.
Right.
And start at that point and see where it was.
Yeah. And I think I really wish Light would have done Lind L. Taylor's death different than a heart attack, just so that obviously he didn't know he was getting baited here.
Yeah.
But had he done, let's not do a heart attack, let's do
a light fall studio light.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that, right? Which actually
I know, right? No, we don't have any studio lights, so we're fine.
Right. Okay. But yeah, so had he chosen a different death, would that have changed the approach or at least thrown L off somewhat? He already kind of just confirmed everything else.
Because he died the same way. That was just another mistake.
Exactly.
But Light wasn't thinking that. He was just kind of thinking, I'm going to get rid of this guy.
Yeah. And what about Light's drawer rig thing? The hidden or floating or what is it? Invisible bottom?
Yeah, the false bottom.
Yeah, false bottom on that. And then he rigged it up to just freaking blow up.
I know, pretty much. Yeah, if you try to rip that part off, then it triggers the light, and it's doused in gasoline, so it just light it on fire. Or I guess the book itself is not doused in gasoline, but something around it is, because the book. Otherwise, he's going to hold the book.
I think the book is doused, or it's at least soaked in blood, in gasoline or in some sort of flammable, and then the little outer part, it's kind of like lighting a stove. It flickers, and that's enough to spark it
to catch it on fire.
At least that's what I understood.
That's it's still keeping it close, and like I get the whole rig of having like, you know, a diary and everything, but like, why not just? I mean, I know you're young, but get a safe.
Right, they make safes for that.
Yeah, and like a key code, and then it's just nobody knows a key code. Yeah. They're unbreakable, and
or if he is older, and we just haven't really.
He could be. I mean, maybe early college, but you know,
go
not
get
that
a
much
safety
older.
Deposit box at a bank, and you know.
See, I wouldn't take it anywhere public. I just have a
no. You don't trust safety deposit boxes, where you have a key and they have a key, and you can't open it with either other key.
No, because I don't know like what like jurisdiction, like if like an FBI or someone comes into the bank and says they have a warrant to check that safe deposit box, will the bank have to open it for them?
They would have to drill it.
If the bank has a key, they wouldn't.
Well, the bank always has one key, and then you have the other key.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. And both have to be used
at the same time. Yeah. I'm this is it. I'm interested to see where this goes. The only way I can. Of all the deaths he's done, there's only been one that we've seen where he killed someone that he was physically around. So if they're able to tie that death to him, they could say who was nearby to witness that death.
But that wasn't a heart attack, though.
It wasn't a heart attack, but if they could still,
and that guy wasn't a criminal. So even though he was doing something
at the time, he was doing something wrong.
Now
it could be considered random,
right? If he has a rap sheet or something.
But if they narrow it down and just look at freak accidents, and then who was in all the ones that. Every freak accident in this little region of Japan.
Right.
Every death. And like you just start to just probe around which one of them seemed like kind of unlikely or very
right.
You know, like not just they were old or whatever. And then you can look at nearby store and who was in the store, receipts.
I mean, that one just going like super far-fetched theory here, but in that one he specifically writes down a truck. Right, or let's just say he wrote down a truck gets hit by a truck that's coming down the road or a car. What if there was not a car coming down the road? By him writing it, did that make a driver appear in a car truck?
It's probably one of those things where it's like the butterfly effect. So like there's probably a truck driver going here, and he was going to turn later on, but then he took a wrong turn, and he's like, wrong turn. So then.
That
he got distracted, took a wrong, maybe a cat ran out, so it made him take a left, like all these little things. So he's like, I actually have to turn. So he ended up having to turn on that road who he didn't normally wasn't going to.
That just happened to be. Yeah, because
I think it's more like butterfly effect-ish.
Okay, yeah, because I was going to say, what if they do start probing around and they interview that truck driver, like, what happened here? And he's like, I don't know.
One day I was on the freeway, next second I was on the road. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. See, that would make it easier, but otherwise I think it was more like by chance from his perspective.
But I also feel like L has some knowledge of the Death Notebook. Like he knows that it could potentially exist. I don't know that he's just very married to the idea that he can do this on his own or like doesn't have to be in the same room type of deal. It just reminds me of have you ever watched what is this movie called? With there's a guy, he gets sent to jail. He's a good citizen. I think the movie has something to do with citizen. Oh, I can't think of it. Anyways, he goes to jail. He's sent to jail, and then
is Jamie Foxx in the movie?
Yes,
and Gerard Butler. I've seen it once a long time ago. But I know what you're talking about. He's always a step ahead of him.
Yeah, and he's able to kill people or make things happen without being in the same room, and he's obviously escaping in and out of prison.
Yeah. So, I think probably he has theories, but I don't know if he's thinking magic or demons or any of that stuff.
Right.
But maybe he is. Maybe he's thinking maybe more like a real scientific, like legit way of people doing this.
Right. Causing people's.
But now but when you see it when you prove it like on TV, he has a heart attack seconds after giving his name, and then he has to start to think, okay, there's more like.
Right. Because
black magic, something.
There has to be, because the other fact is that, like he said, this was an inmate that was scheduled to die today and wasn't on your radar.
Yeah.
There was no way you knew about this. So it's only by you knowing I think he
so now he has to open up. This is one of those shows that you can go on forever about. It's easy to get stuck in this cycle of talking about different theories. Yeah, it's so interesting. I like it. So I'm looking forward to the next one, man.
Law Abiding Citizen is the name of the movie.
That's the movie. It's a good movie. You haven't seen it. Yeah. It's been a long time. It's due for a rewatch. All right, guys. That's all we got for today, though. So thanks for watching. Thanks for chatting with us today. Please consider subscribing to our channel. Full link to actions are over on our Patreon, as well as early access to future episodes. You want to check those out. But otherwise, we'll be back in a few days with episode 3. So until then, we will catch you on the next one. Peace.